All right, folks, let's talk budget GPUs because 2025 is shaping up to be one of the most exciting years we've seen in a long time for gamers who don't have a trust fund. For what feels like an eternity, the conversation has been dominated by just two names, but now the game has seriously changed. Intel has cannonballed into the pool with their Arc series. And they're not just making a splash, they're causing a tidal wave that's forcing everyone to rethink what a budget card can and should be. This isn't just a two-horse race anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. Team Red and Team Green are still throwing some heavy punches. AMD and Nvidia are still putting out some absolutely fantastic value propositions, especially as older generations get sweet price cuts. But the new competition from Intel means that everyone has to be more aggressive, more competitive. And that is fantastic news for us, the consumers. It means more choice, better prices, and more performance for your hard-earned dollar than ever before. It's a buyer's market, and we are here for it. So today we're going to dive deep into the unsung heroes of the GPU world. These are the cards that might not be grabbing the headlines or getting all the hype from the big tech tubers. They're the sleeper picks, the overlooked champions that deliver incredible bang-for-your-buck performance. We're talking about cards that will let you crank up those settings without emptying your bank account. So grab a snack, get comfortable, because we're about to find you the perfect budget GPU you didn't even know you were looking for. Let's kick things off with a card that I think is going to be a real dark horse in 2025, the Intel Arc B580. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Intel? Really, but hear me out. After a bit of a rocky start with their drivers, Intel has been working relentlessly, and the performance and stability improvements are genuinely night and day. The B580 is poised to be a fantastic entry point for 1440p gaming, hitting that sweet spot that until recently was reserved for much pricier cards. It's built on their newer Battle Mage architecture, and it's bringing some serious firepower to the table. What really makes the B580 stand out is its VRAM configuration. Intel seems to have learned a lesson that its competitors are still grappling with. 8 GB of VRAM is just not going to cut it for modern games at higher resolutions. The B580 is expected to pack a much healthier amount, giving you the headroom you need to crank up those textures without turning your game into a stuttering mess. It's often overlooked because the mindshare is still dominated by GeForce and Radeon. But for the price-to-performance ratio it offers for 1440p, ignoring this card would be a massive mistake. If you're still rocking a 1080p monitor and want maximum performance without breaking the bank, you absolutely have to look at the Intel Arc A750. This card is the definition of a market disruptor. When it launched, it was already a compelling product, but now in 2025, with mature drivers and frequent price drops, it has become an absolute steal. It directly trades blows with Nvidia's venerable RTX 3060, a card that for the longest time was the go-to for mainstream 1080p gaming. The kicker? The A750 can often be found for significantly less cash. The value proposition here is just insane. You're getting performance that is, in many modern titles, on par with or even better than the 3060. Plus, you get modern features like AV1 encoding, which is a huge bonus for streamers and content creators on a budget. Yes, you might miss out on the absolute best-in-class ray tracing performance, but for raw rasterization at 1080p, this thing is a beast. If you spot an A750 on sale or on the used market, it's not just a smart pick, it's one of the most intelligent component purchases you can make for a budget build right now. Let's shift gears over to Team Red, because AMD is not taking the competition lying down. The Radeon RX 7600 has solidified its place as a 1080p powerhouse. It's built on the RDNA 3 architecture, meaning you get excellent power efficiency and access to modern features like High-P RX. For pure high refresh rate 1080p gaming, this card delivers consistently smooth frame rates in everything from esports titles to demanding AAA games. As prices have settled well below its original MSRP, its value has only gotten better, making it a super reliable and safe choice for any new build. But what if you want to future-proof your rig or dabble in 1440p? That's where its bigger sibling, the RX 7600 XT, comes marching in. The key difference here is the VRAM. The XT variant doubles it, packing a whopping 16 gigabytes of GDDR6. In a world where new games are increasingly VRAM hungry, that is a massive advantage. This extra memory gives you the breathing room to not only push into 1440p territory with more confidence, but also ensures your card won't become obsolete in a year or two when the next generation of texture-heavy games arrives. It's a smart investment for longevity. Sometimes the best deals aren't actually on the newest hardware. Case in point, the AMD Radeon RX 6700 XT. This card was honestly a fantastic 1440p contender when it launched, and in 2025, thanks to some significant price drops on both the new and used markets, it's become an almost unbeatable value proposition. This is a card from the previous generation that still packs a serious punch, often outperforming newer, more expensive mid-range cards in raw rasterization. If you care more about pure frame rates than the latest ray tracing bells and whistles, this is really where you should be looking. The secret sauce here is its 12 gigabytes of VRAM and a 192-bit memory bus. This combination provides a ton of bandwidth and memory capacity, which is exactly why it holds up so well in modern titles at 1440p. It avoids the VRAM bottlenecks that plague many 8GB cards, allowing you to run higher texture settings without those annoying performance penalties. Finding a good deal on an RX 6700 XT, whether it's leftover new stock or a well-cared-for used card, can honestly feel like you've discovered a cheat code for building a powerful 1440p gaming rig on a budget. It's a true classic for a reason. Alright, let's talk about the true budget king, the card for builders who need to squeeze every last drop of performance out of every single dollar. I'm talking about the AMD Radeon RX 6600, the non-XT version. This GPU is the undisputed champion of entry-level 1080p gaming. It's not designed to break world records, it's designed to get you in the game, playing modern titles with respectable settings and smooth frame rates for the lowest possible price. It consistently delivers a fantastic experience in popular games like Fortnite, Valorant and Apex Legends, and can still handle more demanding single-player titles with some smart settings tweaks. One of its most underrated features is its incredible power efficiency. This thing just sips power, which has two major benefits. First, it means you don't need a massive, expensive power supply to run it, further saving you money on your total build cost. Second, it runs cool and quiet, making it perfect for small form factor builds where airflow might be a concern. If your budget is tight and your goal is simply to build a solid 1080p gaming machine that just works, the RX 6600 remains one of the smartest, most cost-effective choices on the entire market. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room from Team Green, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050. Now, this card got a lot of criticism at launch, and frankly, a lot of it was deserved because of its initial pricing. But we're in 2025 now, and the market has changed. And this is a big if, you can find the RTX 3050 at a steep discount, it suddenly becomes a very interesting ultra-budget option. Its raw performance might not always keep up with some of its direct AMD competitors, but it has one killer feature that the others in its price bracket don't. DLSS, Deep Learning Super Sampling, is NVIDIA's secret weapon, and it can be a genuine game changer for a lower-end card like this. By enabling DLSS in supported games, you can get a massive performance uplift, often turning a choppy, unplayable experience into a smooth and enjoyable one. This makes it a viable 1080p card, especially for players who want to experience ray tracing in some titles without spending a fortune. It's not a card I'd recommend at its original price, but if you find a clearance deal or a cheap used one, the power of DLSS alone makes it worth considering for your build. So, we've talked about a bunch of great cards, but knowing what to buy is only half the battle. How do you actually find these things at a price that makes them a budget option? First, do not sleep on the used market. Websites like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or local classifieds can be gold mines. Look for cards from reputable sellers with good ratings, and always ask for proof that the card is working before you buy. You can often find previous generation champions, like the RX 6700 XT, for an absolute fraction of their original cost from gamers who have just upgraded. Second, be patient and watch for sales. Black Friday, Cyber Monday and other seasonal sales events are your best friends. Set up price alerts on websites for the specific cards you're interested in. Sometimes the best deals pop up randomly when a retailer is trying to clear out old stock to make room for new inventory. And finally, always check recent benchmarks before you pull the trigger. A review from 2 years ago might not reflect performance with today's drivers. Do a quick YouTube search for GPU name in 2025 to see how it holds up in the latest games, and pay attention to VRAM. If you're targeting 1440p, anything less than 10 to 12 gigabytes is a risky bet for future titles. So there you have it. A whirlwind tour of some of the best budget and sleeper GPUs you can get your hands on in 2025. The key takeaway here is that you have more choice than ever before. From Intel's aggressive new entries to the incredible value still found in AMD's and Nvidia's older lineups, there's a card out there for every budget and every need. But remember, the best GPU is the one that's best for you. Think about the games you play, the resolution of your monitor, and what other components are in your system. A super powerful GPU won't do you much good if it's being held back by an ancient CPU. My advice is to use this video as a starting point. Do your own research. Check those recent benchmarks on the specific games you love to play, because performance can vary wildly from title to title. Keep an eye on prices, set up those alerts, and be ready to pounce when you see a great deal pop up. Because they will. The market is volatile, but that volatility often works in the favor of a savvy buyer. Don't be afraid to look at last-gen hardware or consider a brand you might have overlooked in the past. And that brings me to you guys. The PC building community is one of the most knowledgeable groups out there, and I know many of you have found your own hidden gems, so I want to hear from you. What underrated GPU are you running? What incredible deal did you find on the used market? Drop a comment down below and share your wisdom with everyone. Let's help each other build better, cheaper PCs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.